How's it going, everybody? My name is CaptnSarcasm and welcome to a little video of a sped up version of my live stream for building Alarielle the Everqueen and her Wardroth Beetle. So this took me from January to April to do just this last week, but it took me a long time because there was a move involved and I just didn't have the patience to sit down and work on it. I was stressed out about other shit. So finally got it finished not too long ago. You may see some random things popping up on the screen that'll be like people following me, or when I was an idiot and forgot to turn off the waiting for stuff to dry little thing that I had on there. So working on Alarielle right now, as you can see. She was a pretty easy build, a lot of small parts, but not the worst I've ever had to do. Also, I want to apologize for the flickering screen. My webcam has a auto feature, so it's constantly auto white balancing itself. That's why it goes from yellow to white constantly. So here I am starting on the Wardroth Beetle. Alarielle really didn't take me all that long to do, so it was pretty easy. And here I'm cutting out holes for putting in the lights so that it can shine through the back of his neck. I was using the pinning tool to get in there, make a big enough hole that I could get the X-Acto blade and kind of widen the hole. It was a colossal pain in the ass, and I was constantly afraid that I was gonna just slice my finger open. So finally got that done. Took me a little bit. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't the easiest thing to do either. And now here I am just trying to figure out how everything's gonna go together and how I'm going to actually, you know, make it work and do what I wanted to do. Because basically I wanted to stuff lights on the inside so that I could turn it on and have it glow out, so he'd be this living stone beetle that's powered by this green energy and whatnot. So yeah, that's kind of the main basis of all of this. It really was kind of a challenging thing to do. Now here's the part that I'm gonna kind of skip over in the video itself, because I started trying to do the X-Acto blade like before, because I wanted to be able to take off part of the top of the back shell, which is how I would access the lights. So I was attempting to do kind of a scoring where I would just keep drawing the line or scratching the lines with the X-Acto blade and eventually cut it out, but it just took so damn long. Here I am doing it right now, and it just did not work well at all, and I was really worried I was going to cut myself, I was going to damage something. So I stopped and I went online and I ordered a jeweler's hacksaw or handsaw, whatever, and I didn't do it on camera because it just made such a mess. But basically what I was able to do, you'll see it here as I hold it up, I was able to use the pinning tool to start a hole, and then I could thread the jeweler's saw blade through that hole, screw it all in, tighten it and whatnot, and then I was able to brace it on the edge of a table and cut those smooth lines. And I was also able to slice the top shell for allowing me to get in and work with the lights. So I went through and I cleaned that up with the X-Acto blade, and it turned out pretty well. Some of the lines kind of got mushed together during the building process, so the light doesn't shine through quite so well. And right there I was drilling a hole after gluing it together so that the lights could go through the body and into the head, so you can see the lights shine through just like that. Overall I think it worked pretty well, but it was a massive pain in the ass until I was able to get that jeweler's hacksaw, which just made everything run so much smoother. So here's a bunch of little tidying up kind of things, trying to figure out how the hell to get this thing to fit in there and still be able to close. I mean, it was a close fit, and this was the smallest LED light contraption that I was able to find. And there's my green stuff that I've had for like a year and a half, and it still works. It just kind of comes out with clumps occasionally. So I've got these super tiny neodymium magnets. If I remember to do this, I will put a link in the description for the sizes that I use. I use it for all of my models whenever I'm doing kind of a conversion. Something's going to be tricky and I want to be able to take it apart and put it back together relatively simply. These things are great for it. They're super strong. I think one of these things are rated to hold up to like 5 pounds, or not 5 pounds, a pound. So they're really strong magnets. And I mean, they're the kind that if you drop them near your phone, it will it will probably wreck your phone. So here I am putting the legs onto the beetle. Nothing too much to say. Butts on the head of the beetle now, working on the big front legs. Honestly, once I got that jeweler's handsaw, the build went by super quickly, and it was so easy to do. Yeah, there I am getting them on the base. The only problem I had with this model is, I don't know, it was probably my fault because I'm stupid and I was cutting up a bunch of stuff, but the legs didn't all want to fit and like rest on the base, so I had to sit there for about 5 or 10 minutes and just hold the feet down to make sure that they all stayed glued and didn't spring loose. And actually the front left one, the talon never properly set. I'm looking at it right now and it's still kind of sitting up a little bit, but I'll fix that whenever I finally decide how I'm gonna base my Sylvaneth army, and I've just kind of been too lazy to do that. But apart from that, everything else went on really nicely. My only other complaint was on the front big head of the beetle. There was again, I don't know if it's something that I didn't clean it up well enough or not, but there was a very large seam around some of the top horn bits, and using green stuff and whatnot, I was able to kind of sort of hide them. You can still see them. And here I'm doing a quick demo of the lights inside with the top shell attached, so you can kind of see what it's going to look like when it's all said and done. Again, I apologize for the shitty webcam, but that's really all I've got. And hey, look, there's that text that I forgot to turn off. That'll be popping up a bunch. But yeah, the green lights worked really well. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description for those as well. They were super cheap. I was able to get a pack of 2 of them for I think $6. They come in green, red, yellow, white, blue, and purple, I think. So I definitely will be using them again for future builds that I want to light up and make pretty. So there's Alarielle. She sits on top. I was recommended by Morgan down at the headquarters to not attach her until she was painted, otherwise she was a colossal pain in the ass without being attached. And actually right here what I'm doing is I'm doing another sneaky thing where I'm trying to make this green stuff look like the branch and stick a magnet in there. I actually had to cut one in half so that it could fit on the bottom of her foot. So basically I'll be able to take her off whenever I'm transporting her, so that, you know, she's not sitting up there, and I didn't want her leg to break or anything. So her right leg has kind of a trapezoidal spike almost that fits into the right branch, and then I put a magnet on her left foot and the opposing end on the other branch with the green stuff, and that's what essentially holds her onto the top of the beetle. So this is the longest part of the video here, and I might not have a whole hell of a lot to say, but it's basically just me painting the teeny tiny Alarielle. And man, this was before I got my new chair, and this is actually part of the reason why I got my new chair, because sitting over hunched like that on my old chair, the cushion in the seat has totally gone out. It's like sitting on a piece of plywood. It sucks. It was to the point where I was actually using a folded up blanket as a cushion, and even that would start to hurt eventually. So this just absolutely killed my back, and at one point you'll see my shirts change, and that's how you know when the days have gone by. And at one point I was able to do one of her wings before I just could not stand sitting there any longer, and then I came back the next day and finished off the other wing. But overall, she was as far as difficulty goes, not that bad. The only thing that was really tricky on her was painting the man, I can't even remember what it's called, the amphora that's on her back, the little jar where she's able to throw out her little seedlings and spawn more dryads and the tree lords and whatnot that she's able to do. Just because everything else was such a pale, different color, and I was just so paranoid about getting blue on that and having to fix it, that it was really stressful. And also trying to get around her neck and the back of her head with the wings, that was also a little bit of a pain. just for the angles that you had to try to work with to get the bronzes on, the blue for her earrings. Well, what I decided to do, I made it difficult for myself because I'm a genius. But yeah, I really kind of wish that I had been able to put a little light in the palm of her hand, but there really just was no feasible way to do that and hide it. Maybe one day there will be something small enough that I can do that, and I don't know, maybe like a little wireless LED bulb. That'd be kind of a cool thing to have, and hell, maybe they even have that now and I'm just stupid and didn't know it. But yeah, I don't have too much to say. The lighting was terrible, by the way. I actually went and bought a desk clamp lamp, but it has a tungsten bulb, which it's so yellow, and I really want a bright fluorescent to just get a bunch of white light, but I wasn't able to find one quickly so that I could finish and get her done in a decent amount of time. Oh yeah, the hair on her was also a major annoyance. Just getting in there, making sure that everything was done and I wasn't leaving any black spaces. And it's like, I know that you do the arm's length thing and you should be fine, but if I know that it's there, then I know that it's there and it's going to annoy the ever-living shit out of me, so I have to do it. Even if I know that no one is ever going to pick her up, turn her upside down, and see that one black spot, I will know that it's there and it must be fixed. So here's what I was talking about working on the wing. I guess I actually didn't do the one wing that one day. I did everything up until then. That or I wore the same shirt. There my shirt changes, because I just couldn't sit there and do it anymore. The wing was pretty easy. Did the one shade over all the feathers just to kind of get it done, and then to do the progressive color changes, I just painted over top of the initial green. So that was a pretty easy one to do. And thankfully I had a bunch of greens from when I tried to paint orcs and gave up because it was too monotonous and I had lots of choices. But yeah, overall the wings were fairly easy. They were kind of nice and smooth, which, as I'm sure some of you may know from painting, makes it a little bit difficult to get that first initial base color on there without leaving streaks and whatnot. Most of the time when you do the wash, those streaks will disappear, even if you don't fully cover them, but I'm super anal about it. Hey, look at me, I'm a genius. I left the text up again for like an hour, I think. Oh no, it went away pretty quickly that time. And yeah, that wonderful paintbrush handle in the shot, I really got so into it, I forgot that I was streaming and that I was putting stuff right in front of the camera. So you'll see a lot of my little paintbrushes sticking up there. But yeah, I was actually I was never one to do metals because I always do bugs for the most part, so I was really happy with how her headdress came out, and her spear I'm kind of about. All I did was kind of just a basic, I think I used Iron Breaker and then Nuln oil. I didn't even highlight it just because I don't know what the hell I'm doing when it comes to metal and stuff. So but the gold stuff on her stomach and her headdress and all that, I think I did pretty decently on there. Let's see, I can't really tell. I guess I'm just doing, oh no, I'm doing the washes now. So the wings are getting their green wash there. I guess I'm doing some touch up because I normally fuck up when I'm doing the washes and it gets everywhere, and I've made a bad habit of basically slathering my models in the wash because of doing my bugs. It's their look. I like them looking kind of dirty and grungy and having the really dark recesses with the more highlighted kind of finishes. So I did the same on her, and I had some issues, so I had to tidy it up. Okay, now this, I picked him up and I immediately broke him and had to fix it. That's why the glue's back in the shot. I grabbed hold of him and I snapped one of the little soul gem things that hang on the side of him. But also, you may or may not be able to tell, but new location, we moved, and yeah, this is me working on him here in the new place. So you can see the mechanism in the back of him, or not the mechanism, it's a fucking light, it's not a mechanism. So yeah, this was another issue of me not having sufficient light, so I basically had a light sitting on my desk to light the scene so that anyone watching the stream would have decent light, but that also meant that I was at a terrible angle for painting. A lot of deep shadows that I wasn't able to see on, so you're gonna see me spin this poor beetle around trying to get an angle where I can see and make sure that I'm covering everything. And I actually did a pretty decent job. I had to go back occasionally to make sure that I had everything covered. So it wasn't too bad. The branch on the front, if you're looking at him head on, it's on the right, but it's on his left. Right to the left of his head was kind of annoying to get, just because there was no way to get behind there. So I know that there's some gray that hasn't been painted, but there is literally no way that you can see it, but it still annoys the crap out of me that I wasn't able to fully paint those branches just because there was no way to get an angle on it. So yeah, doing the details there. Looks like I was doing the mushrooms. I've got the moss done. Looks like I'm doing the moss around the rest of the body and up onto the leaves on the top. Swap between the different greens to kind of give it more of a organic look than just doing a solid color all the way around. And you'll see me pick up his top plate occasionally, like right there, to get the pieces done on it. I could have painted it while I was sitting on him, but I was fairly confident that if I did that, then as soon as I picked him up to try to rotate him, I was going to hit one of the pieces and it was going to fall off anyway. So I was like, just screw it, just stay off. No one needs you anyway. So yeah, I had to spin him around so much. I pulled him off camera so many times just so that I could try to get a look at it and get the actual stuff finished. Don't think I mentioned it before, but this in total through the stream took me just under 21 hours to do, from starting the build to the last finishing dry brushing and last little details to make sure that I got everything done correctly. It was 20 hours and 45 minutes, I think, and I cutting out some of the dead space where I walked away to make lunch or I was waiting for something to dry. This came down to 20 minutes roughly. So I had to speed it up almost 5,500% to get it down within a reasonable viewing. Oh, and look, more blue for the soul import. That was the hardest part of this paint, is trying to get a good angle to make sure that all the blue was covering what needed to be blue. And I botched the crap out of it. I missed so many times and had to go back and mop it up with some more of the Skaven gray something or other. I can't remember what the shade was called. The gold, however, on this came out so well. I was so happy with it, and it pops being in such the grungy earth and stone colors, and to just have that bright shiny gold stick out on his forehead, which I don't even really know why that's there. It's like she just gave him a high five on his forehead and it just stuck there. But, you know, whatever. Let's see, how are we doing on this? Getting kind of close to the end. Looks like I'm just touching up where I messed up and got paint where I didn't want to get it. So, yeah, getting pretty close to the end here, and I'm starting the washes. I figured I'd go ahead and get the greens done first because that'll override most of the other washes that you can do. The brown just kind of adds to the green on the branches, so that turns out kind of nice, which is why I did it second. The blues I went ahead and did. I actually was pretty neat with that, which is not normal for me. And then I used a Reichland Flesh shade for the gold. And I'll come back later and I'll put some more highlights on it because I put a little too much on and it kind of darkened the gold too much. And here we go with the main thing that I was worried about, was doing the Nuln oil for the stone. And I was really worried because I knew that as soon as I started, I couldn't finish or I couldn't stop. Because if I stopped, then it was gonna dry and it was gonna leave a really hard line that you wouldn't be able to fix. So I was going as quickly as I could to make sure that I got everything done and it was all nice and even. And I actually thought I was gonna use a lot more of the Nuln oil than I did. I thought I was gonna end up using the whole pot, but turned out I didn't really need the whole pot. So looks like we're moving on here to the dry brushing, using moot green for the moss and the leaves, just to give them that little extra pop there on the edges. Let's see what else. Brown on the branches, blah, blah, blah. Now, I was really, really happy with the way the white turned out for dry brushing on the stone. I really wanted to look more like he'd been scuffed and weathered, but I was really worried after the first like I was like, man, this is really, really bright, but I'd already kind of committed and I didn't want to have to repaint it and rewash it and whatnot, so I just went on with it, and it actually turned out to look really, really, really good. I guess more like he's chiseled and dusty than the battle-scarred and weather-worn that I was initially going for. So he's finally done, but I kind of went a little crazy with the dry brushing, so I had to go through and mop up spots that wasn't supposed to have that white dry brushing to it. So any of the greens, the ropes and stuff on the sides, holding on the gems, the branches on his horns, I got a little bit carried away with, so I had to fix those. But yeah, there's the finished beetle. Give you a nice little slow turnaround of him. The highlights on the stone, I can't believe that that's something that I did, and it turned out way better than I was hoping it would. And as I'm spinning her around, I noticed how much she wobbles, so I'm actually gonna have to go through, and I think I'm gonna pin the foot that sticks into the branch and try to give her a little bit more metallic support than just what she has right now. So also gonna give you another preview here of the lights being turned on inside of him after he's painted, and he looks glorious as hell. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I don't know as of now if I'm going to stream another build, maybe if I get a better light, but half the headache of this was because of the fact that I was streaming it and I didn't have a good light source, or I wasn't sitting in a place where I had a decent light because I was in front of my computer where I don't have good lights, funnily enough. So yeah, I thank you guys once again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm probably going to put out the full video unedited with the super long length. It'll be the longest video I've ever uploaded, if YouTube even lets me upload it for something that long. And yeah, you'll be able to see me struggle with it in real time as I was doing it. And yeah, it was fun. Probably wouldn't do it again. I only need one anyway. Alright, well, I'm gonna stop rambling, and once I get her situated back on top, there will be another little still of it, and followed shortly thereafter by a bunch of still images that give you a better quality image than the shitty webcam that I'm stuck with using. There's me being a goofball, giving you a thumbs up. Alright, well, that does it for me. I'm out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Follow me on all those social media platform thingies, Twitter, Instagram, whatnot, and I'll keep you posted on things that I'm doing, and woo! I'm done! 4 months, 20 hours, I'm done! Woo-hoo! Okay, bye. I'm gone now. I'm hungry. I just got off of work. I'm gonna go eat some food. You guys do you. It was fun. Thank you for watching. And yeah, I really am gonna shut up now. Yeah. Okay, bye. I'm still